Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, dear colleagues, I address you today on behalf of members of the group of friends of children and the Sustainable Development Goals. Since 2015, we are committed to advocating for child rights, child well-being, and meaningful child participation in UN intergovernmental processes and beyond. Today, we are all faced with the COVID-19 pandemic. If we do not act swiftly and decisively, we might witness the creation of a lost generation of children. Even before the onset of the pandemic, we were not on track to achieve the SDGs by 2030. Programs to advance child rights through education, health, nutrition and protection systems did not reach all children. These realities were both exposed and exacerbated by COVID-19. Over 19% of children and youth globally, over 1.8 billion young people, were affected by school closures, with 463 million of those unable to access online and remote learning during this time. Over 80 million children will miss out on life-saving vaccinations this year due to disruptions in routine healthcare and fragile health systems that have been overwhelmed by the COVID-19 response. In addition, children already at risk of violence, exploitation and abuse find that they are cut off from key support services at the same time as they are suffering the additional physical and mental stress placed on the fragile households. This is especially acute for girls. In April of this year, the group of friends partnered with the European Union and a group of Latin American and Caribbean states to issue a joint statement on protecting the lives and rights of children. This statement received overwhelming support with 172 alignments from member states and permanent observers. However, words alone will not protect children's lives, rights and futures. We must take urgent action to ensure that the COVID-19 crisis does not become a child rights crisis. To this end, I would like to highlight 3 key actions. First, in our immediate and longer-term COVID-19 response and recovery, we must commit to providing adequate financing to protect and promote child rights and well-being both in domestic budgets and through the mobilization of increased flows of external finance, including international development assistance. Investing in the services and systems that will keep our children learning, healthy and safe must be an integral feature of the COVID-19 response and recovery worldwide. Second, it is imperative that we engage with children and youth as stakeholders and solution creators, both at the UN as well as in the local and national planning and monitoring processes. Incorporating children's views and perspectives in the design and delivery of policies, programs and services adds to their sustainability and ultimately the achievement of the 2030 agenda. It is only by ensuring the meaningful participation of children that proceedings at the United Nations remain inclusive of and relevant to future generations whose lives are most at stake in achievements of the SDGs. Third, all of these efforts must be underpinned by our collective recommitment to achieve the SDGs and to combat the existential threat posed by climate change and environmental degradation. While COVID-19 may not have been directly caused by climate change, environmental degradation, including habitat and biodiversity loss, is a common underlying risk factor. Humanity has been on a collision course with nature for too long, and the emergence of this pandemic, coupled with our vulnerability to similar risk in the future, will only increase if we do not change course. Our medical researchers have now developed vaccines that will enable us to ultimately put an end to the COVID-19 pandemic. The effects of this pandemic, however, will likely be felt for years to come by this generation of children, particularly the poorest and the most vulnerable among them. We must come together as an international community to build a more resilient, more equal, and more empowered generation of children. A generation that will be best equipped to both face the challenges and harness the opportunities that the future will bring. Monsieur le Président, permettez-moi d'ajouter quelques mots à titre national. Le Luxembourg se réjouit des annonces concernant la mise au point de vaccins efficaces contre le coronavirus. Cela nous permet d'espérer que nous serons bientôt à même de venir à bout de cette terrible pandémie qui a déjà coûté la vie à 1,5 million d'êtres humains. Cette lueur d'espoir doit nous encourager à maintenir l'élan de solidarité et de coopération multilatérale. Pour réussir, nous devons être unis et surtout travailler ensemble. Dans cet espoir, mon pays, le Grand-Duchy de Luxembourg, a contribué au Fonds central d'intervention d'urgence de l'ONU et au plan mondial de réponse humanitaire à la pandémie. Nous soutenons nos pays partenaires, en Afrique de l'Ouest notamment, pour les aider à renforcer leur système sanitaire. Nous avons aussi intensifié notre appui à l'OMS, qui reste la meilleure enceinte pour élaborer la réponse mondiale aux pandémies. Mais mon pays a augmenté aussi de 22% son soutien au Gavi, l'alliance du vaccin. Et avec nos partenaires de l'Union européenne, nous participons aux efforts pour assurer un accès équitable partout dans le monde à des vaccins abordables contre le coronavirus. Le Luxembourg a décidé dans ce contexte de contribuer au mécanisme dit COVAX. La pandémie pourra, espérons-le, bientôt être contenue, mais son impact socio-économique continuera à se faire sentir. Certaines régions, comme l'Europe, ont pu prendre des mesures sans précédent pour relancer son économie. Pour d'autres régions, hélas, cela n'est pas possible. Sans action concertée en faveur de l'agenda 2030, nous courons le risque de voir les progrès des dernières années réduits à néant. Le Luxembourg, pour sa part, tient son engagement et continue de consacrer 1% de son revenu national brut à l'aide publique au développement. Chers amis, il est un peu partout. Et cette pandémie a fragilisé nos sociétés et a mis à mal la situation aussi des droits humains. L'utilisation du Covid-19 comme prétexte pour réduire l'espace civique et soumettre l'opposition politique ne peut être acceptée. La pandémie aura suspendu des mois durant beaucoup d'aspects de notre vie quotidienne, mais elle ne saura suspendre les valeurs qui sont au cœur des Nations Unies. Je vous remercie.